Hello, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I make videos on how to make cocktails, both classic and original, as well as other tips on bartending. Today's drink will feature tropical ingredients like hibiscus flowers and toasted coconut milk, mixed with winter ingredients like bitter citrus, to create an amazingly unique zero-proof cocktail I'm calling Blizzards and Bikinis. I will also be incorporating rosewater, saline, and mint. This drink was actually inspired by my breakfast: oatmeal with shredded coconut and grapefruit. It was such a great combination that I haven't really seen before. I knew it would make a great drink. The zero-proof spirit I will be using is Ghia Aperitif. It's honestly the best zero-proof spirit I've tried to date. It's an aperitif-style ingredient that offers really interesting bitter elements to this drink. It contains a blend of herbs and flowers that you'd find in something like Campari or Aperol. First, I'm going to brew 2 cups of hibiscus tea. Each cup of tea needs around 3.5 grams of dried hibiscus flowers. Since I'm brewing 2 cups, I'm going to measure out 7 grams, then add it to my French press. You can find this tea pretty much anywhere these days. You can even use the kind in tea bags. Afterwards, I'll add 2 cups of boiling water. I like using a French press to brew loose leaf tea. The screen helps to strain out all of the tiny particles that we don't want floating around in our drink. Now I'm going to let the tea steep for 6 to 7 minutes before plunging and transferring into a jar for storage. Now I'm going to make our toasted coconut milk. For this part, I'm using 1.5 cups of regular coconut milk. You can use light coconut milk, but I want this drink to be really rich and creamy. You also need shredded coconut, 1 tablespoon of demerara sugar, and 1/8 teaspoon of baking soda. I'm going to start the coconut milk component by toasting the shredded coconut in the oven. I set my oven to 200 and scatter the coconut in an even layer on a baking sheet. I will let this go until the coconut has toasted to a light brown color. I will set the toasted coconut aside while I begin working on the toasted coconut milk. I couldn't really find much on YouTube about how to toast coconut milk, but I remember reading an article by J Kenji Lopez Alt about how you can speed up the Maillard reaction by raising the pH of whatever you are trying to brown. To my 1.5 cups of coconut milk, I'm going to add 1/8 teaspoon of baking soda to raise the pH. Then I'm going to heat the coconut milk and baking soda mixture over low heat for about 5 minutes. This happens pretty fast, so keep your eye on the pot. You will notice the color start to change slightly. Remove from heat, then go ahead and whisk in the demerara sugar until it dissolves. The demerara sugar will also lend a caramelly flavor to the coconut milk. After the sugar has dissolved, I'm going to pour the coconut milk into a blender along with the shredded toasted coconut. I will blend this for about a minute, gradually raising the speed on the blender. Now we just have to strain out all the large coconut particles, and the toasted coconut milk is ready to use. Since we aren't using any fresh citrus in the drink, I wanted to boost the acidity of the Grapefruit Cordial. An easy way to bring out more citrus notes or sweetness in a drink is by adding a little salt. I'm going to do this by making a 4:1 saline solution. To make this, I'm simply dissolving 4 teaspoons of water to 1 teaspoon of salt. Now we are all set to make the cocktail. I'm going to start by preparing my glass by spritzing it a few times with rosewater. The scent of roses blended with the scent of toasted coconut is simply divine. If you don't have an atomizer, just swirl a few drops around the glass. First, I'm going to add 1.5 ounces of the toasted coconut milk to the shaker. Next, I'll add 2.5 ounces of hibiscus tea. After the tea, I will add 1 ounce of grapefruit cordial. I will link the video on how to make this in the description box. Now I will add 1 ounce of Ghia Aperitif. And lastly, just a few drops of saline before adding the ice. Now I'm just going to give this a good hard shake. Then strain into a brandy snifter filled with crushed ice. For the garnish, I'm going to add some mint for freshness and a nice pop of color. And here it is, blizzards and bikinis. Of all the zero-proof cocktails I've made so far, this is my favorite. It's so creamy and toasty, with a nice sharpness from the hibiscus tea and some bitterness from the grapefruit cordial and Ghia to balance it all out. It's tropical, yet it makes you feel warm and cozy. If you aren't participating in Dry January, I would add some rum to this, or even some mezcal would be really tasty. Let me know in the comments below if you tried this one out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Friday with another cocktail video. Have a great weekend.